before everybody crucify me because this is the second week we have without a guest. I be trying out here, but I feel like the name of the show actually messes with us a lot because like I tried to get Josh Moon to come on. Josh said basically this, like he doesn't want to promote Keemstar, and I was like, no, Keemstar won't be here. It's just gonna be me, Tommy C, and Boogie. And he's also like, you know, Keem owns it, mate. And if you want to start covering drama, you should change your name. You know, just imagine if my podcast was named The Fat Retard Show. Hey, would you like to be a guest on The Fat Retard Show?
Josh doesn't seem like a guy that likes to have fun. I'm not. He's like, I guess if we're not talking about the serious issues of the internet, it's just not for him. Not a fun guy.
I think, okay, number one, if you had to moderate Kiwi Farms every day, do you think your life would be very fun? Like, I would want to eat a bullet 10 times a day.
He apparently likes that. Have you seen his post, though? Like, he was upset trying to figure out ways to get Kiwi Farms back online because this is basically his life's work.
Proof, no fun. That sounds pretty boring to me.
Man, stalwart, dude. The man is super stalwart. Like he basically brought this thing back to life after Keffals pretty much killed it.
I definitely want to talk about Keffals a little bit today. Before we do, though, I don't understand why Josh wouldn't want to be here, and I'll tell you why. You just pitch it to people wrong. Okay, here's what you need to do. Okay, the show is called the Lolcow Podcast. We are the cows. You pitch them and say, "Do you want to be a guest cow wrangler? Do you want to be a guest cowboy on the next episode? Put us in the hot seat, drill us, have fun doing it." And so then, because anybody that comes onto the show, they're going to come away, unless it's Keemstar, they're going to come away smelling like a rose. Somehow Keemstar came out of Lolcow.
Next guest wrangler. How about that? Action Man's the next guest wrangler. Here you go.
And let me say, Josh, I think genuinely I should come on the show because number one, I don't think he has any bad blood with any of us here.
He does. He doesn't like me.
He doesn't like. Oh, good. Let him come yell at you.
I don't care. I never had any problem with it. He said that I'm like the guy in a gangster movie that rats on everybody at the end or something. But he always confuses me with Tipster somehow. So I'm not sure. I have no issues with Josh whatsoever.
I mean, I would love to see Josh on here just because he's done me a favor. I think he's done Wings a favor because at the end of the day, people don't know this. But one of the things Josh is doing is kind of like running the asylum. And I think that 90% of people that are at Kiwi Farms are, I said some bad things about Kiwi farmers last week, so let me take a little tiny bit of it back, okay? I think 98% of the people that are on Kiwi Farms are there for as a joke, there for a laugh, there to have a good time, there to stare at the cows, right? And that's what this show is about, so that's not that different. But there's a small group of people that are so dangerous, so crazy, so wild, so weird that even Josh is like, I got to deal with this crazy person. I think before we go,
Jordy, you said something about funny about Keffals offline. What did you say she was as far as an advocate?
Oh, yeah. Like she's the Al Sharpton of the transgender community. Yeah, exactly. Like it's like
nobody takes him seriously.
It's like everything in the world. Like you could be like, this sandwich is mediocre, and like, well, how does that regulate to trans rights? So like everything doesn't have to be about trans rights. Like you can't have a conversation with her without it being there. Well, she has it plastered on her fucking microphone for some reason. Like, do we need it in our face like this all the time? It's like, okay, whatever.
I think she probably thinks that she's probably come to believe, because I don't think she's particularly bright, that makes her smart. I think a lot of people get into advocacy because they want to be seen as smarter than they are. So I get that feeling. That's her. I'm an advocate, that makes you smart. Not necessarily.
No, definitely not.
Not necessarily.
Technically,
I think a smart person realizes how fucking dumb they actually are.
Going back to Josh Moon for a second, can we loop around to Keffals? Because I got something in my inbox right here I want to read.
Sure.
Okay?
Let's do it.
I have a headline that says, transgender streamer under fire once again after admitting to sponsoring do-it-yourself hormone directory accessed by minors. And they're referring to Keffals here. And the way I know they're referring to Keffals here is because she tweeted this out by saying, I'm in the news again for being based, it seems. Tommy, opinions?
Well, I have kids. I mean, I'm a normal father. If anybody put their hands on my kids, molested my kids, or sold them drugs, I might do something against the law. I mean, like I that's if true. I'm surprised nobody's done something about that. Somebody undermined my ability to parent, and especially if the government didn't step in and do something about it. I mean, yeah, I might be crazy enough to do something about it if somebody hurt my kid.
Hey y'all, what's good? I'm back with another video, and oh boy, this recent episode of Lolcow Live was really interesting, and it's a bunch of stuff here that we definitely have to talk about, which is Lolcow Live inviting Joshua Moon to come on, and he doesn't want to come on. And honestly, I'd like to convince him, or if there's any kiwi farmers in my audience that want to convince him, it would be really cool. It would be great for the culture. It'd be great for the content. And honestly, it would be really good for PR, right? Because right now we have Keffals under fire. Mudahar has apparently struck gold, and he's making a video. And you know, since she banned me from Catboy Ranch for clickbaiting about Tipster of all fucking things, right? So fucking stupid. If you haven't seen my last video, that's what that video is about. So I went ahead and I did the most clickbaity title I possibly could. So go peep my last video if you want to hear about why I was kicked from Catboy Ranch. But yeah, so that was like one of the last trans spaces that I really liked people and I felt welcomed, and she took that away from me. So yeah, it's fuck Keffals. And if any kiwi farmers want to team up to take this bitch down, because I see right now that my original read on Keffals could not be more true. She just keeps showing her ass. She just keeps showing her true colors. She is terrible for trans people. She is far worse for trans people than Kiwi Farms is. And I am a big believer in the enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? So yeah, so if anyone want to work together on that, and I would strongly ask Joshua Moon to reconsider going on Lolcow Live. I think it could maybe repair some of the damage that Keffals did to your site. You know, it could be good for PR. And then the next part that we gotta hit on real quick, I want to say that I have some more clips that we're gonna react to piece by piece. Those were just a little intro clips, and I have some more clips because they actually dive into Keffals a little bit, and it was some very interesting conversations just about trans people in general. Coming from people like Wings and Boogie and Tommy C. So it was very interesting. I want to take a look into it, and we're going to dive into that in just a second. But I want to speak on what Tommy C was saying there. He gave a little nudge, wink, wink, that if Keffals were to ever give his kids drugs, he would take it into his own hands. Now, I'm looking at Tommy C saying this, and I don't think he's blowing smoke whatsoever, man. Real recognize real, right? And when I look at Tommy C, I see someone that definitely has a level of street knowledge, right? So this is definitely someone that yeah, probably would enact some sort of action if Keffals were to do that. Now, to clarify my stance on how I feel about all this, because when I was part of Catboy Ranch, I didn't really speak out against the whole DIY HRT thing. I kind of defended and supported it, and the reason being is because like freedom is my most important thing, and people being able to make whatever choice they want. I would never get DIY hormones. You know, when I got my hormones, I got it from Howard Brown, which is like the biggest Midwest healthcare LGBT provider, right? So a very reputable source. I would never go to motherfucking like Keffals to get hormones. But like, I'm not gonna make a big deal about it at the end of the day if there's no reason for me to, because I believe if people want to do some dumb shit, that's on them. And if Keffals wants to sell minors hormones and then possibly deal with the backlash of their parents, that's also a decision that she can make. So I just kind of chalked it up to that. Like, I'm not gonna have outrage. Like, if she's not hurting anyone I know personally, I don't really care. Some people are in desperate situations and they really need a transition, and if they want to make a desperate decision, I don't believe in stopping them from doing that. However, I do think it is foolish to clarify my point on that. And the last thing I want to hit on before we get into the clips, I did want to say, I thought it was really funny that they said Keffals is the Al Sharpton of the trans community. And like, dude, that's spot on. That's really spot on in a sense, right? And it's really foolish the way she's going about like trans liberation and trans politics, and I think her fan base is gonna fall apart pretty quickly. We're gonna see it unravel pretty soon as more trans people mature, and like, she's got like her hooks in a lot of people in her community, so it may be some people that may just be blind to things, but as more people are speaking out, especially the Mudahar video that's sure to come at some point, right? Like, I think people are gonna start to see her true colors. Never trust a fucking Canadian. Never trust a Canadian. Anyways, let's get right to it.
What I do know is I've heard two things about Keffals. I heard the PDF stuff is horseshit, and then I heard that Muda's making a video and he struck gold. So I don't know. I don't know how base it's going to be if it plunges the police investigation. But in fairness, the record of YouTubers getting police, everyone's like, you're going to jail, and nobody goes to jail. Look at EDP.
If Muda's looked into somebody and Muda's saying he struck gold, I would get the rope ready, because I'd be ready to hang myself tonight, because Muda does not around, man.
So right there, you see them talking about the Muda video. And yeah, I don't think that legal repercussions would come from this. For one, we're talking about a Canadian that is in Ireland right now, and an American making a video about them. I highly doubt that would spark some sort of legal investigation or whatever. Who knows? Maybe especially if she's like sending hormones to America or something. Like, who knows the exact details of like why they would or wouldn't look into something like that. But the big thing to speak here, and when I was part of Catboy Ranch, I was asking the people, like, all right, so like, how much do people believe about this grooming thing, like with Keffals and the minors? Like, is it like just transphobes that believe this, or are like normies believing this? And there was some conversation, and someone expressed a concern about Muda making a video. And now Muda's someone that like the public, they hold his opinion in a very high regard. I don't think they should. I think he's kind of a fucking cocky asshole, and like, he has no reason to be as cocky as he is, because like, he acts like he can never be wrong, but he is wrong. You know, we're all humans, we're all wrong. I wish he'd be a little more humble and like a more, I don't know how to explain it, but it's besides the point. To get back on track here, they do hold his opinion very high. So if he were to make a video like this, that's something that could definitely shift the court of public opinion. That's going to definitely change how like the average person that's not transphobic, not tuned into like Keffals is a groomer, you know, like how the transphobes and Kiwi farmers are. That's something that they would definitely adopt that mindset, and would be terrible for Keffals.
I just think it's up that people are selling unregulated drugs. Like, regulation is not a bad thing. You got to regulate things. If you don't regulate fish, you lose all the fish. So like, the reason you regulate drugs and you don't do it yourself hormones at home is because there's side effects. You could stop your heart. You could change something about your personality. You can become suicidal. There's all kinds of side effects for putting things in your body that, you know, somebody that doesn't know what the they're doing, like a pharmacist or your doctor or anything like that. Don't do things that your doctor doesn't tell you to do.
And now Wayne's is absolutely right here, you know, like, that's why you should take this very seriously. And even if you are getting actual hormones, like taking something like hormone replacement therapy, cross-sex hormones, right? So like, that is something that there's gonna be hormonal changes, which can already change your personality and various things, and how you process information. And that's something to keep in mind. So I would say that you want to be in a stable mindset, a stable situation, if you're going to start transition in the first place. And introducing the DUI drugs into that equation, right, like, that can't be good. Like, that can only complicate the situation. And once again, I'm a super big supporter of like absolute freedom, people being able to do what they want, like just total freedom. So like, here's my thing, as foolish as I think it is, I don't care so much if people want to do it, if people want to take that risk. I understand people wanting to protect people, but to me, I was like, freedom's more important. But I understand that's probably a more radical position to have.
Like, well, when I was like 14, right, I wanted to be a wrestler. That's what I wanted to do when I grew up. So like, there could be somebody out there that thinks they want to be a girl, but you know, might not be. They might just be trying to get attention. You know what I'm saying? Like, some people go through that attention stage. Like, everybody has their gothic stage or like their rebellious stage. Like, there was a period of my time where I listened to nothing but metal music because nobody else listened to metal music but me, because it was something that was unique to my personality. But it wasn't, and I grew out of it.
So this is a very interesting point that Waynes is making here. I'm not sure if I'm sold on the idea of the whole trans-trender kind of phenomenon, which is essentially what he's getting at here. Is it a trend or is it not? I don't really know. It's hard to tell, because I'm 25. When I was in school, like 99% of people were terrified to come out. I never came out in school because it would be social suicide, right? I'd be bullied, and I'm not trying to fucking deal with that. But it's really cool you see a lot of kids coming out. But what we're hearing from parents is some of these parents are saying that like one friend will come out, and then all the other friends in their friend group will come out, and it seems to at some level be a social contagion with some of our younger people. And like I said, I don't know enough about this to speak if it's true or not, but I think that there are some cases where people are doing this to get attention or something of that nature. It's like an emo thing. And yeah, I think those are pretty obvious cases to tell. I think people that are really suffering, really like in pain, and they really need to transition, I think that's going to be more obvious than someone that is suffering in a different way. And it's not so much that they need to transition, but they're just lost and maybe trying to fit in or something. So yeah, it is interesting, but I don't have enough information to draw a definitive conclusion on that.
Before we imagine the best case scenario, and again, trying to play devil's advocate, imagine you got a 13-year-old kid who thinks they're trans, and they go to mommy and daddy, I want to talk to a doctor about hormone therapy. Can you help me figure this out? And they refuse. They say absolutely not. Why are we calling Keffals in that situation? Right?
I think Keffals is volunteering. I think that's what's happening.
If you feel that way and you're of age, you can go to your personal doctor yourself. You don't have to have your parents' permission.
Alright, so this is an interesting little point made right here. So like, yeah, the question is like, why go to Keffals? I guess there's not a lot of options. And so like, if you are of age and you don't need your parents' permission, for a lot of kids it can be really rough to wait until 18. And also one of the major issues is that if you can get on hormones before puberty or during puberty, like early in the stages of puberty, you can fit into society as the gender you identify a lot easier than if you were to fully go through puberty and as a full-grown adult then you decide to take cross-sex hormones. The likelihood of there's being as extreme changes goes down by a lot, right? So that is a concern, right? But at the end of the day, like most of us like that had parents or we were scared to come out, like we grew up, we knew we were trans, we knew we wanted this. I knew since I was 12. I didn't like start taking hormones until I was like 19, 20, right? So like that's the situation for a lot of people. And as rough as it is, it's life, man, and life goes on. So world's not fair. So maybe your parents don't accept you and you can't get on hormones to prevent that puberty, but maybe it's safer that instead of going to Keffals to get the cat hair estradiol, maybe just wait until you're 18. And if you do it right when you're 18, it is a possibility that you're still young enough and maybe still going through a level of puberty and maturing in a way that you can have some more impactful effects from the hormones than if you were to do it even in your 20s, you know?
Here's another thing, though. It's really important, Boogie. It's really important. All right. Okay. Yeah. One of the things they showed on, like the drugs, the boxing that it was in, it says keep out of the reach of parents. And they also showed a cat hair in one of the hormone bottles or what have you. So this is exactly the DIY. It gets
that
the
is
DIY
very homemade,
result.
huh?
Yeah. yeah, exactly.
Jesus
so can you imagine
Christ.
like coming home and finding out like, you know, your kid's going through whatever they're going through and they're getting drugs from this wacko on the internet. And, you know, assuming all this is true, we know this is all alleged at this point.
Right.
But like, yeah, I think as a parent, I'd go berserk. I think it's a completely normal reaction. Who are you? You're not a doctor. You're not my family. You got no right to do this.
So right there, that's something that you definitely have to keep in mind if you're going to be doing something like this, is that you are going against parents' wills. You're explicitly saying, hey, I have a service that if your parents don't want you taking this hormone, I will provide it from you. And I was a person that, like, I say I believe in freedom. Now that goes both sides. That means if you want to do that, then there's parents have the right to, like, then if they want to try to stop that or take action against you, they're gonna do that, you know, because you are doing something that's radical. You are doing something that is morally questionable at the end of the day. And although I understand trans kids are hurting and they need access to hormones, and you know, it could be helpful even if their parents don't want to help them, at the end of the day, you are making it very easy for kids to go against their parents' rights, and parents are gonna do what parents do.
Say something before I'm labeled a like a transphobe or anything like that, right? Like, because I'm a kind of person that says, like, some people are very easy to spot. You can kind of say that building used to be a Pizza Hut, right? But regardless, regardless, I believe that some people are born in the wrong body, because scientifically,
I can believe that.
Scientifically, we all start out as females. That's why males have nipples, right? And somewhere,
I'm not saying that.
Well, I'm saying this. That's why males have nipples. But somewhere in the womb, the father's gene takes over, and you become a male versus a female, right? You can develop a male body but have the female brain.
Come on, Tommy, have some more faith in Jordy, because he is absolutely, like, medically and scientifically right. So if you think about it, this is why, for one, it is a lot easier for FTMs to transition, because they are female, right? So it's a lot easier to go from female to male. You're adding things, essentially. You're adding more changes. When you're going from male to female, the idea is essentially you're taking away. You're trying to go back from like a stage, earlier stage in the womb, essentially. And that's also why, on the opposite end, it's a lot easier for SRS, for MTF, because all they have to do is essentially invert the penis, right? They cut the balls off and invert the penis. But when it comes to a male, like, when it comes to FTM, you have to add a penis out of essentially fucking nothing, right? So they have to take skin from, like, either your leg or your arm or whatever have you. So it all kind of lines up when you think about it from that aspect, and he's absolutely right. And also with the part about like, that's how it can form. Like, so when you're forming in the womb, like, something happened with the hormones that caused your body to develop as male, but the brain didn't develop as male. The brain didn't get as much testosterone or whatever exactly happens, right?
Look at it this way, Tommy. Look at this way, Tommy.
Okay, Dr. Jordy.
like people that are gay, right? They like the same sex. At what point in your life, Tommy, did you decide to like girls?
I don't know.
You didn't.
I can't remember a time when I didn't.
Your body just naturally liked girls because your brain was wired that way. Yeah. Some people naturally like boys because their brain is wired that way.
And that makes you gay, not trans.
It's not so much like they're trying to get into, like, attention seeking. Like, why would you want to attention seek going into this place where, like, the vast majority of the world hates you and there's, like, whole religions against you and whatever, like this is, other than your body is craving this?
Now, I'm a little bit confused as to why Jordan is making the point that, like, it's not as much attention seeking as obviously your body's craving this, because he made the point earlier that, like, oh, when I was 14, I wanted to be a wrestler. Like, maybe people are just doing this for attention or whatever. So I don't know why he's making conflicting points exactly. And maybe he's saying that, like, it should be weighted out, right? Or I think that's a good point, right? So, like, the people that are really, like, it's really in their brain, it's really in their soul, like, they really feel it. They're always gonna feel that, and it's gonna be like a more intense kind of issue for them. And I guess the people that are just doing it to do it, like, that's what I'm saying, I don't know, because I don't have that experience. I was always absolutely terrified to be trans, to do this, to be myself, right? So I don't have that experience. I couldn't say why someone would, And a lot of people, for that reason, they say, oh yeah, transgenders don't exist, but then we see other things going on that kind of look like, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know, but that was kind of weird that Jordy did make conflicting points there.
I think people can be born into, I'm sure people honestly believe it, and I think they understand their own identity or whatever. I'm not denying that. It's just you don't get to sell drugs to my kids,
right? I agree with that. You should never,
because that's the case.
You should never. If you want to make drugs, you need to have it FDA approved. In my opinion, like if you want to sell drugs to anybody in my family, it needs to have an FDA approval on it.
Yeah, no backstreet Keffal dealers.
I really want to play with Tommy's kids, Keffals. He keeps bringing it back to that point.
And let me go as far. Let me go back to, because I like talking about trans rights and trans stuff like that, right? Some people believe it's a mental illness, and I think if it is a mental illness, if you have a mental illness and me calling you a woman is going to ease your pain, I have no problem doing that. I don't know what anybody does.
You're such a hero.
I'm just saying, like, I change one word in my vocabulary to create to call someone with a mental illness feel slightly better in their own body, their own brain, their own mind. Sure, I don't give a shit. I'll do that. But I will go as far as to say it's people like Keffals that are making it more difficult to do that. I genuinely feel like why are you the poster child of trans people right now? You are doing a horrible disservice to trans people everywhere.
So big ups to Boogie right here for valuing the emotional health of trans folk, you know? And that's really just it, is that people that they care and they want to be a good person, they're going to do it just because it's not that deep, right? So that's why I always tell trans people, if someone is so insistent on misgendering you, and it's not a genuine mistake that can be corrected, they're very insistent on misgendering, they're doing it to harass, to cause harm, whatever it is, don't tweak. Stay calm. Because they're gonna look so much worse, right? They're a fucking asshole, man. Because even if you don't believe in it, even if you don't believe in trans people, it takes so little to just be kind, right? It takes so little to just be kind. So if they want to not be kind, let them show their ass. You ain't got to show your ass too. Let them show their ass and they will look bad. It's that simple.
And I Tommy, I think you've said this before. You've seen her use the trans community as a shield over and over.
A shield and a sword. She's intimidated. She intimidated and threatened. Like went up to and threatened Destiny's ex-wife, saying she was going to get him kicked off of more stuff. She's the platformer to boot. And I got to be honest, I don't find her particularly bright. She doesn't come up. She's not like an intellectual or anything. In fact, I think she's bone stupid. She's in a debate with Keemstar a year or two ago, and she's obviously being fed stuff. I don't find them being particularly smart either. So yeah, I think she's like the worst.
So right here, man, I'm just blown away by the fact that these like fucking 40-year-old cis dudes seem to have a better read on the trans community than a lot of damn trans people, and a better understanding of this wolf in sheep's clothing named Keffals, right? Absolutely toxic and terrible for the trans community, and somehow some people can't see what these people are clearly seeing. And it's so funny that they said she's bone stupid, and that's my read too. She's just a fucking Neanderthal, dude. She's just a fucking mouth breeder at the end of the day. And it's funny because she really does fancy herself as this like intellectual advocate, right? And the thing is she's book smart. She is. I've had interactions with her within Catboy Ranch, right? She's very book smart. She'll mention fucking like philosophers or politicians or laws or fucking words from academia that I don't know. But it doesn't really mean anything. She's just repeating shit. Doesn't have any kind of common sense or like intelligence. She doesn't have any kind of intuition. She's fucking stupid. Like if you put her in a survival situation, she probably wouldn't.
I thought this was going to take a dark turn. I thought Tommy was going to say he went and seen the porn that Keffals was in.
Yes, that was it. She was in a porn? What?
Yeah, she started out in like an adult, like doing porns and stuff like that before she got into the
Oh, she was doing like fart stuff.
What?
What? Yeah.
Like what? Yeah. What? Somebody told me that. She was doing like flagellants porn or something.
She wasn't the girl from Cake Farts, was she?
I have no idea. Was your customers?
No. Do you guys remember? Do you guys remember cakefarts.com?
I don't remember cakefarts.com. I do not.
Yeah, Cake Farts was a video.
I missed that one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, again, the internet was a vast wasteland of lunacy when it first cropped up. And at the beginning, there was a website called Cake Farts, and it was literally just a video of a woman who took one of those old school frozen cakes out of a freezer and then got on toilet and farted on her chocolate cake. And that's the entire video. And it was cakefarts.com. And it was just...
And then they had to print up the fucking fart porn, dude. We've all seen that on Kiwi Farms, right? That's... Oh my god, dude, I actually laughed really hard when I saw that. This shit's so fucking... It's actually pretty fucking funny, man. But, hey, you know, she was a poor trans woman and she did what she did. I mean, most trans women, you know, they'd usually just like become a sugar baby. I guess you want to fucking fart into a camera. You know, maybe she's into it. I don't know, man. I'm not into kink shaming, though. Whatever you like, Keffals. Whatever you like. Anyways, that's all the clips I have for today. Hell of an episode. Once again, I would ask that Josh Moon reconsider coming on, and it would be really cool. Like, do it for the internet. Do it for your website. It'd be good for PR. Anyways, fuck Keffals. Fuck Catboy Ranch. Can't wait for that Muda video to come out. I will definitely keep y'all posted when that does come out. Anyways, peace out, bitches. Have a good one.